In 2018, AMD released the RX 590, a competitor to the GTX 1060. The RX 590 might be one of AMD's strangest graphics cards ever. On paper it looked solid, $279, 8 gigs of VRAM, and better memory capacity than the GTX 1060, which only had 6 gigabytes. But once you looked closer, the card landed in a really awkward spot. It was more expensive than the 1060, but nowhere near powerful enough to seriously compete with the 1070, so it ended up being stuck in the middle, not cheap enough to be a must-buy, and not fast enough to be exciting. What made the RX 590 even stranger is that it didn't really feel new. AMD had already released the RX 480, then refreshed it as the RX 580, and now again with the RX 590. All three cards were based on essentially the same GPU design, the only differences being that they got higher clock speeds each time, higher power draw, and a small bump in performance. So instead of feeling like a brand new graphics card, the RX 590 felt more like AMD squeezing one last release out of Polaris. But the question is this card still usable in 2026? Well, I wanted to find out, but first I had to get my hands on one. And with a quick search on eBay, I found the XFX Fatboy RX 590. After installing the GPU, it was time to benchmark some games. I paired the GPU with a Ryzen 5 3600 to make sure that it was not bottlenecked. Are you fed up with that stupid Activate Windows watermark on your desktop, but don't want to spend $200 to buy a key straight from Microsoft? Well, me too. That's why I use WinProKeys.com. They sell Windows 11, Windows 10, and even Office keys at affordable prices. And if you use code TweedyRex at checkout, you'll get an extra 10% off. So make sure to use code TweedyRex for an extra 10% off, and the link will be in the description and the pinned comment. In Rocket League, the RX 590 performed really well, which was expected, averaging 183 FPS with 1% lows of 93 on high settings. In Fortnite performance mode with all low settings, the GPU performed really well, averaging 121 FPS with 1% lows of 78. I also kind of popped off getting back-to-back victory royales. So yeah, you might want to watch this awesome gameplay. As you can see, it easily performed very well in Fortnite and even allowed me to get back-to-back wins, which shows just how good the graphics card is. Building felt very fluid, and yeah, the gameplay was good. So this is definitely more than usable for Fortnite. In Overwatch 2 high settings, the GPU also performed really well, averaging 154 FPS with 1% lows of 106. I also decided to benchmark the finals. It was my first time playing this game, but the GPU performed relatively well, averaging 93 FPS on all low settings with 1% lows of 67. So from this we can clearly see that the RX 590 is more than capable at playing most games at 1080p. But should you buy one? Well, for me the answer varies. If you can find it on a good deal, definitely buy it. But if not, just buy the RX 580, the 8 gig version, not the 4 gig version, because the performance difference is only very slightly worse than the RX 590, but you can find it for significantly cheaper. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, as I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers, and make sure to check out winprokeys.com and use code TweedyRex at checkout.